right now to get to talk to BKFC Fight Night Mohegan Sun headliner Parker Porter. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Gotta ask you first off about what this means to you. This opportunity with BKFC has presented you the opportunity to continue to fight at home in front of your people right there in Connecticut.
It's huge, man. It makes things a lot more manageable for me. I have three kids and a wife, and I'm a small business owner. I just made the jump to being full time at my gym that I own, so not having to travel, for long periods of time or be away from home, it puts a lot less pressure on me in terms of having to make sure everything's covered and taken care of and making arrangements for this or that. Pick the kids up here, drive them there, and make sure this class is covered that way and that class is covered this way. So that genuinely means a lot to me in that sense, in the logistics side. And then of course, who doesn't want to fight in front of a hometown crowd? You have support from really everybody in that.
It's just up the road. It's right there. The Mohegan Sun Arena. It's been a great experience for you. Did you expect this going into bare knuckle? You took a little time off after the UFC. Was it an easy transition to commit to this company to go into another combat sport and to believe in this process?
It was easy after the first fight. The first fight was, I was hesitant because it's obviously something new, something kind of foreign in the sense of I've been doing MMA now for 16, 17 years. And this is just a little bit different rule set in the sense of like you're not going to be kicking or taking anybody down to the ground, trying to submit them or anything. So I was nervous about that. The thing I was most nervous about was that I was going to possibly get rocked and just go into autopilot and maybe shoot a double leg
Has
and
there
then get DQ'd. But after that first fight, man, I was just like, oh shit, this is like lightning struck my head. Duh, you're supposed to be here.
so the instincts, there was no throw a knee, throw a kick. You fought those instincts off?
Correct. Yeah.
What was it about that first outing that you said it just connected?
It just it was something that just felt so natural to me. Whereas I had to work really hard to get good at MMA of things, especially if you're not a naturally born grappler. Um, that was always a more difficult side. I did wrestle when I was growing up, so that was always very foreign, and I had to do extra work to get better at that. It was also difficult to find guys my own size to grapple with. You don't necessarily need heavyweight to spar with, train with. If you have somebody who's got a similar reach, you're obviously not going to sit down on your punch at 100% power of somebody you have 100 pounds on, but you can work the distance management, you work the timing, movement, everything else can be worked around. So it just it just made things so much more instinctive. Striking was always something I gravitated towards anyways with my MMA career. And now I was like, well, that's you. And well, yeah. Um, I don't know. I really can't explain it too much, man. It's just a through all the different martial arts styles, punching and kicking always just like made the most sense to me. It was the easiest one for me to follow, in terms of like, well, duh, I'm winning. I hit him more times or I hit him harder. I think having that football background, I could lean into that toughness side of things. We're like, oh, I got hit, but I'm still here, and I'm gonna hit back even harder.
A lifelong competitor, and you have the stint with the UFC. You get past that. Was it still the competitive juices were flowing, or were you thinking if the right offer didn't approach you that you might have been done competing?
Yeah, I was nervous that the right thing wouldn't come along necessarily in terms of like something that made sense monetarily, because you are at a level where, there's a significant amount of sacrifice and time put into it. and it just has to make sense. Like there's a bare minimum that you're willing to, knowing your own value. There's a bare minimum of what you'll accept in terms of like, yeah, I'll go do this. So that was the scariest part, was making sure that it made sense financially, and but yeah, as far as the competitive side, that never lulled one bit, and thankfully I've always had the support of everybody around me.
You talked about how the fight felt, but what was the moment like, that walkout for the first event, for your return after a year and a half away, and you walk out in front of your people in a packed Mohegan Sun. There's the smoke, there's the extra feel of the BKFC. What was that moment like?
I felt like I was coming home, uh, after being away for years. It felt like, man, it was just great. It was the greatest feeling in the world. I felt so jacked up. I was so amped up, so excited. Couldn't wait to put everything on display for all my friends and family and fans, and to do it at home in a brand new way. It just felt like, man, I got something so special here. I need to really, really take this in.
When you hear that Mohegan Sun is so excited about the show that they have a residency schedule with BKFC, did you already know that this was your golden ticket, that this was your pathway to make a name in this division?
Absolutely, I'd have to be stupid not to. With the between how much I enjoyed it, between the performance of the debut fight, and then like finding out all about that, I was like, yeah, like we got this. Let's dive into this 100%, both feet, cannonball in the deep end. We're not coming up for air.
All the chips are in the table. You're all in on the sport. I love that. You go 2-0. We see you in the rankings. And then the last time we saw you, the last event of the year, what are you thinking in those moments? Because we got a first knockdown where you're on top of the world, and then everything goes a little hazy with three knockdowns in a row on your side. Can you just fill us in on what the thought process is in that fight?
There is no thought process, man. You kind of go into autopilot, and it's just like, all right, you got hit. Keep hitting. Don't give up. You make sure you pick your ass up every time you hit that canvas. If it happens again, get up. You don't stop. You don't stop. Like, and I think I said that after the fight. It was like that's just my mentality when I'm in there. I'm competitive, and this just happens to be a game where it's super violent, but you're still gonna have to kill me to stop me, man. You got to really put me out cold. You got to do something to actually break my body. You'll never break my spirit.
Did you feel that hurt? Like cognitively, like how hurt were you somewhere around that second, third knockdown?
I never didn't know where I was. Does that make sense? I
Yeah,
always
so
knew what was going on. It literally just felt like, um, you know, I was kind of like, boom. I'm like, ah, my fucking leg shut off again. God damn it. Somebody go flip the breaker. We're losing power. Like it was that kind of mentality. I never like lost consciousness or anything. I remember even being in the corner after the first round. My coach is talking, and he's a really soft spoken guy, Ed Thornton. And he's like telling me, he's giving me direction. I'm just trying to listen, and I don't hear very well to begin with. I got strong ADHD, and when there's a lot of background noise, I can't make things out. I'm like, Ed, you got to speak up. I can't fucking hear you, brother. And he just kind of laughed and started speaking louder. I think that was his little bit of reassurance that, like, oh, okay, he's still in there. This isn't as bad as it looks. All right, let's get back out there and execute this game plan.
you land your left hand. Do you know that you land the shot that well when you land it on Anthony, that you got him in the eye, that was a one that he might not get up from?
I mean, there's that particular one. No, I didn't know I landed it that well. You're kind of in such a melee, and with something like that where you're just in such a brawl, you feel every punch landing, but with it being such rapid succession, you don't necessarily notice the difference in impact. There have been plenty of times in the past where I'm like, oh, that one hurt, that one rocked him. He's probably not getting back up from that one. But for me, it was just keep going. Like I didn't know that was going to be the one.
You're into the moment, you're into the melee. When you rewatch the fight, what are you thinking?
Keep your fucking hands up, dummy. Move your head. Keep your hands up, move your head. Why are you not doing a single thing that you practiced in camp? Like, how did you let yourself get sucked into this? Stay on your toes. Don't be flat. I just planted my feet and started brawling, man. And I rewatched that fight and I'm like, oh, Jesus, my poor wife and kids in the audience going through an emotional roller coaster. Uh, yeah, that's that's about it when I see that.
Is there a way to try to approach this fight with Haze Wilson, our main event Saturday night, and try to not make it such a brawl?
Absolutely. I can be very technical. I just, for some reason, when he hit me and we started exchanging, that was, one of those kind of primal things of just turning it into a pissing contest. And thankfully, I could piss farther on that one. um, but yeah, with Hayes Wilson, you can expect me to be a little bit more calm, cool, and collected. You're going to see me be sharper, be more intelligent. You're going to actually box instead of just brawl, and it's going to be explosive.
Is the Anthony Garrett fight one that later, when you got the ground kids, you're around the fire at the holidays? Is that going to be one of the stories you're telling them?
Probably, probably. If it's not the one that I'm telling, it's definitely the one the wife and the kids are going to bring up. That's for sure. Like, your grandpa scared the shit out of me. Blah blah blah.
What scares you? What presents the biggest challenge about Hayes Wilson, a guy that's a load of experience in the kickboxing realm and has had some bare knuckle fights under his belt too?
Um, I think he's just as aggressive as I am. I think and of course in the heavyweight division, anybody that could throw a punch even halfway decent has knockout power. So that's the biggest scary piece of it, if you will. Is don't get caught. Don't get caught. Be sharp. Stay intelligent about things, and don't get sucked into a firefight like you did last time.
You're a veteran of this game. You've been around, so you've seen a lot. I think this was with Wilson, and then I want to believe there was Copeland, and before that there was Watson. How much of an adjustment has it been through this camp that there has been a multitude of names?
Not significant, but just enough. And thankfully, with the timing of the changes of the names, we've had more than enough time to make the adjustments where we're feeling plenty confident. It's a very, very different animal from the last fight where the opponent change was literally a week out.
Unlike MMA, where we've unfortunately been criticizing the heavyweight division, the influx of the MMA guys that have come over to BKFC has made this one of the most exciting divisions in the sport. Do you see title eliminator? What do you think after 4-0 comes next for you looking at the landscape of the division?
I think it's going to be at least one more, if not two more fights. Definitely a ranked guy in there, maybe two more ranked guys, and I think that puts me in uh, prime position and gives me the right to have that next title fight, especially if those are more first and second round knockouts.
After having had the time with the UFC, opening your own businesses, does this feel like a whirlwind that everything is coming together where you're number four in a division and now big things are right on the cusp of your combat sports career? We've also started doing all of these businesses outside.
100%. It feels like finally the hard work is paying off. I didn't have to sell out. I've been able to stay true to who I am and continue on the path that I started on, instead of having to divert 100% or completely change the destination.
Was there opportunities? Was that something that was presented with you that you almost had to deal with those options?
Um, Here and there, it's more from the business side of things. Not so much from the combat sports side of things, but being able to keep my coaching mentality the way it is, keep the way that I see martial arts training being for everybody as opposed to, it's only for a select few. Training is for everybody. I don't necessarily think competition is for everybody, but everybody should be able to train. And there's no reason that, a pro shouldn't be able to train with a newbie. different story. The newbie's not going to help them prepare for a fight, but if we're just doing regular out of camp training, there's no reason you can't bring your ego down to their level and teach them a couple of things and maybe even learn a couple of things because they ask you a question that you never thought of before.
We got to meet him on the UFC scene, and now we're getting to see him grow, thrive, and flourish here in the BKFC. They're back this weekend at Mohegan Sun, Saturday night, BKFC Fight Night. Parker Porter, thank you so much for the time, sir.
Thank you.